Jim, let's get a question here from the Cult of Cornette Facebook group. This was sent in by Joel Clementson. Is Austin versus Hogan the biggest match to have never happened?
Ooh, well, my God, ever? We might be here pouring through Tim Hornbaker books for and Brian Solomon books for, several days.
Well, but the other thing, as you were evaluating this, the interesting thing is what if it had happened? If it had happened, it probably would have been within that window where they would have made the most amount of money possible for that match.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that may have been, certainly it would have grossed more than any other what if match. You can go back and say Bruno and Thez, right? They would have done that in Shea Stadium and they would have drawn 30 or 40,000 people, but it wouldn't have grossed nearly what Hogan and Austin would have, 25 years later, 30 years later, whatever the time frame was.
Bruno versus Andre, which Bruno always wanted to do, and Vince Sr. wouldn't let him do it.
Again, that would have been Shea Stadium, and that would have been probably 40,000 people. But at the same point, the tickets would have still been, back in the normal days. Can you think of Thez and Rogers for the NWA title happened on a number of occasions. It just Thez controlled the finish. That was a big match then, but that's a different thing. And I'll work with him. He's just never going to fucking beat me. So that's happened in numerous occasions, and the match has happened. So Bruno Andre, Bruno Thez, Hogan Austin.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of the biggest match. Again, it can't just be like wrestlers from different generations, guys that in their prime now. Like you guys never worked with the Hart Foundation or the Bulldogs. Those are matches for tag team fans. Those are some of the biggest matches that never happened.
And that would have been possible because we were both active at the same time. You can't say Jim Londos versus John Cena.
Right. Exactly. Huh.
And maybe it.
Yeah, the other thing is if you think about like changing history around altogether, if Flair had come in to the WWF in 85 or 86 or 87, would a program with Flair and Hogan have actually done more business? Because I don't know if it would have. Than everything with Hogan leading up to Orndorff and then Andre.
Yeah, no, because Flair had more... maybe respect might be the word, but Flair had more respect and cachet and notoriety with the fans of the early 90s from that run on TBS and with Crockett and WCW. By the time he got up there, I'm not saying the booking wasn't mismanaged of when he got up there. They could have done the outsider thing better and had the dream match on at WrestleMania and all that stuff, but I don't know that he would have gotten over, Flair, being he, would have gotten over as strong as Flair did from 1986 to 1990 if he'd have gone to the WWF. Because Flair became the guy. Well, they already had the guy up there. So he was only going to, at best, become the co-guy or the second guy. What do you think?
As far as matches, I don't think he would have. I don't think anything was going to do more business than the Orndorff turn did, which was coming off everything from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which, led into everything with Andre, which then led into Hogan doing no holds barred.
And also Flair got over because of the NWA style of wrestling and the Crockett style of the program and the promos and the matches and not, Vince's style.
I'm trying to think of any other good examples of one that it wouldn't have been the biggest match if it had happened, or it's not the biggest match that didn't happen, but in terms of matches that were teased and you never got it, Lawler and Piper. Not like when they...
Oh, yeah, in 82.
Yeah, not the stuff in WWF in 94, 95, whatever it was, but the stuff in Georgia and Memphis.
Hey, at that point in time, that's when I was going to Norman Dooley's house to watch Georgia wrestling every week because Piper and Lawler were promoing each other, and there was going to be a fucking match, and holy shit, this was great, and the interviews were great. And then all of a sudden, Piper's gone, and that was the period of time where, was it Ole fired him? Or
I believe so, yeah.
It was either an Ole, you're fired, or I quit anyway, because somebody told me that Roddy at the time wanted to just sit on the beach and partake in his substances. But so the match never took place in the Omni, and you never got the payoff of that. But yeah, for promos, we were dying to see that. And Lawler was the heel, right? That's the way I remember it.
Lawler was the heel in Georgia.
Yes.
In Memphis, Piper was the heel.
Well, and the same thing would happen later on with Lawler and the WWF guys that would come in. Brett would be a heel, Vince would be a heel, and whatever. But because you couldn't, it wasn't exposing the business as much as people think it was for Lawler to be a heel on national TV and be a babyface in Memphis, because the people in Memphis loved him because he had been the biggest heel in Memphis. And then he switched, and he would tell everybody, I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to be the old king when I go to Georgia, or when I go up to the, Minneapolis territory. When I go to Florida, I'm going to do what I've got to do to beat these guys, because I don't care about those people. I love you. And it fucking worked.
Well, Jim, the match may not have worked out, but you have to think back then, fans,
they couldn't call each other.
Some fans were going to Norm Dooley's house. Fans did not have the means to connect the way they do today to say, something's happening, I had to call somebody.
That's right. They couldn't just call each other at the drop of a hat. You had to go find a payphone and have change in your pocket, or you had to borrow your friend's mother's phone and charge a long-distance phone call. Remember long-distance phone calls, Brian? They were expensive. Well, all that stuff doesn't happen now. You can call Zimbabwe or Zambodia on a Mint Mobile phone plan. It costs you the same thing. $15 a month, call wherever you want, do whatever you want. Imagine if there was any other service in the world that for $15 a month, you could use it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and do whatever you wanted on it, and they weren't going to charge you anymore. Brian, would that be the hottest product in the history of the world?
Hot stuff.
Hot stuff. Then why are people not talking about the $15 a month phone plans at Mint Mobile? Well, I guess they are talking about it, because that's what we're doing. Mint Mobile has the premium wireless plan starting at $15 a month. For the 3-month plan, they got the high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, and the nation's largest 5G network. Did we ever figure out what the 5Gs are?
The 5Gs? It's one of my favorite soul groups, actually.
No, that was the Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
See, I was just making up a song. You just went right with something that's out there in the public.
Out there, it's out there. I'm telling you what, it's out there, and you can hear it on the Mint Mobile phone plan, because you can look up the goddamn YouTube on the phone and just play it to your heart's content. Hold that phone up next to your head. Use your own phone. So it's already got your stink on it, your fingerprints all over it. With any Mint Mobile plan, bring your phone number. Hell, we'll all just jump in the pool and have a big party. All your existing contacts, tell them to come over too. As soon as you get 30 or 40 people in your house, Mint Mobile will come and they'll fix them all up with a phone plan for $15 a month. Have I said that amount enough, Brian, where they understand how that's 50 cents a day, except in, well, January, March, October, within this 30, so it's less than 50. Are you doing this math?
Was I supposed to be doing math?
You're supposed to be doing math, because in a day with 31 months in it, in a month with 31 days in it, this plan is less than 15 or 50 cents a day. It's $15 a month. Now, in February, you're getting fucked.
No, let's not look at it that way. And
there's only 28 days. The average goes way up. I mean, it's still cheap, but in the long run,
Let's look at it over a 1-year period of time. It will equal out in the end. And in the end, with $15 a month for your plan, you're the winner with Mint Mobile. Tell them about it, Jim.
Well, you only have to look at 3 months because that's the new 3-month premium plan is just $15 a month. So that's $45. See, you do the math that way. But you only have to look out 3 months. It's still going to save you money. And for heaven's sake, then, you know, at some point, you can just say, well, if the month is a few days longer this month, then I'm even better off. You go to mintmobile.com/JCE. That is mintmobile.com/JCE to cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. And again, you can call people to the point where they get so fucking sick and fed up with you, they'll never speak to you again. It won't cost you a penny more. You can text photos of your sphincter to people all over town.
No, look, we're right at the end of this.
You a thing.
Come on, again, of all the suggestions, you have the weirdest sicko, fucko, pervo ideas.
That's like that time that I signed 1,000 pictures, right? I autographed 1,000 color 8x10s for a guy, you know, your friend Jim Cornette. But in one of them, just because I was getting a little slappy, along about 784, I signed it something like, you know, Fuckwad McGee. And I'm just, because then that kept me going for the rest of the time, thinking that one person out of 1,000 is going to get a picture in the mail that says Fuckwad McGee.
Once again, Mint Mobile, one more time. One last time, Jim. Tell them anything you have to tell them, and let's get going.
Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile, the sound of an orchestra swells in the background. MintMobile.com/JCE. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 GB on the unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.